Alright, let's be real. The PSP wasn't just a handheld, it was a pocket-sized RPG factory. This little machine pumped out games that could rival full console epics, and somehow fit them in your backpack. Today, we're counting down 10 of the best. The kind of RPGs that made dead batteries feel like a personal betrayal. Expect cult classics, surprise legends, and a few picks that might make you question how you ever missed them. Buckle up, this list goes hard. Brave Story New Traveler looks like the kind of RPG that was tailor-made for the PSP. The game wastes no time throwing you into vision. A colorful world where battles snap on and off the screen with almost zero loading, something that felt like black magic back in 2007. Encounters pop fast, transitions are instant, and the whole pacing screams pick up and play, but without losing the depth of a console RPG. Combat runs on classic turn-based lines, but with its own flavor. You've got a party of 3, and the main character is locked in, while allies rotate in and out as the story goes on. Every strike builds brave power, a meter that fuels stronger skills, flashy unity attacks, and even buffs tied to your party's friendship level. Each character's brave soul gives them a unique edge, and you can pump gemstones into the hero's sword to evolve it across the journey. Layer that with accessory crafting, where you literally turn monster loot into gear. And you've got a loop that keeps fights snappy but rewards tinkering. It's also packed with extras that feel surprisingly addictive for a portable RPG. Side quests, guild tasks, and a mini-game where you collect weird little birds and throw them into battles against NPCs. It's like Pokemon with feathers and a timer breathing down your neck. Beat the main story and you unlock an epilogue with powerful guest characters and a nasty bonus dungeon called Earthrift, which pushes the mechanics way harder than the main quest ever does. The main adventure runs around 20 to 25 hours, but going after all the optional stuff can easily stretch it past 40. It rarely demands grinding, and the challenge is steady rather than punishing, though bosses toward the end can catch you slipping if you're careless. The only thing slowing you down? Old-school save points. No quick saves on the map, so sometimes it's you, your battery bar, and a prayer. God Eater 2 hit the PSP in 2013, and even on Sony's aging handheld, it managed to deliver a monster hunting experience that felt fast, stylish, and portable. Instead of long grinds, missions usually clock in at 5 to 10 minutes, perfect for quick sessions. And the game lets you juggle melee, gun, and shield all in one transforming weapon. Add in a deep crafting system, bullet editor, and ad hoc multiplayer for up to 4 players, and you've got a formula that felt like Monster Hunter's cooler, speed-obsessed cousin. But what really sets GE2 apart are the blood arts. Every melee weapon gets access to evolving modifiers that change how attacks behave, and suddenly your spear isn't just a spear. It's a rocket-propelled lance of doom. Unlocking and leveling these powers keeps combat fresh way past the early hours, and makes experimenting with different loadouts addictive. On top of that, God Eater 2 introduced new weapons like the Boost Hammer and Charge Spear, both adding unique movement and attack options that push you to rethink your approach to each hunt. The story moves things 3 years after the first game, with the crew of the Friar ship facing a deadly plague and the rise of Scion-type Aragami. Characters like Julius, Nana, and Seal give the Blood Unit its own identity, and big encounters like the Marduk or Magatsu Kyuubi remind you why these games are all about the boss fights. Yes, the PSP hardware meant smaller maps and some visual downgrades compared to the Vita version, but the game still runs with surprising fluidity.
Here we go, guys! These rebels are history!
On PSP, most strategy RPGs went turn-based grid or tactical menu heavy. But Valkyria Chronicles 2 said, nope, we're bringing the PS3's Blitz system to a handheld. You still zoom out to plan moves from above, then dive into third person to actually pull the trigger yourself. It's tactical chess with rifles, grenades, and tanks, all shrunk down to missions you can play on the bus. Instead of one giant war campaign, the story is framed around a military academy. Each month on the in-game calendar throws new tests, training ops, and special story battles. Finish those and you unlock personal missions where squad mates drop their bad habits and actually grow stronger. It's part school life drama, part civil war, with surprisingly dark beats underneath the lighter cast. The customization here goes deeper than the first game. Your 5 base classes split into multiple branches, letting scouts become snipers or engineers, shock troopers evolve into flame sprayers, and a brand new armored tech class roll out with shields and hammers. Even your vehicle isn't static, as you can mod it into a full tank, or strip it down into a nimble APC that ferries troops across contested zones. And yes, there's way more to chew on, over 200 missions if you're counting every skirmish test and side op. They're chopped into smaller, interconnected maps, linked by captured camps, which works better for the PSP's quick bursts of play. Critics praised how much content is here, even if it sometimes dips into grind territory. The real surprise? Co-op. Nearly every mission can be tackled with up to 3 other players in ad hoc multiplayer, and nothing beats storming a base with a buddy laying down crossfire while you sprint for the flag.
Coming at you!
Imagine a school where your grades depend not on exams, but on how well you can blow stuff up in alchemy class. That's basically Monachemia Student Alliance. You step into Al Revis Academy, juggling assignments, tests, and free time, where you can chase side quests and unlock character arcs that even change the ending. It's a loop that mixes RPG battles with a life sim school calendar, and it hooks fast. The core system is the Grow Book, where progress isn't just about grinding XP. Instead, you unlock new abilities by crafting items and slotting them into your growth chart. Translation: the more you synthesize, the stronger you get. It's an addictive cycle. Fight, gather materials, brew some bizarre gear, then return to class and see it all pay off. Combat runs on turn-based squads of 3 active fighters with 3 on standby. Swapping them mid-battle is instant, letting you chain assists break enemy turns and trigger burst mode for a damage fiesta. It feels quick, tactical, and just chaotic enough to keep you experimenting with party builds. The PSP release tried to make it portable-friendly. Weak enemies can be wiped instantly, assignments are bite-sized, and there's even an ad hoc co-op mode for dueling with a friend. The digital version on PSN is the one worth touching, though. Loads are much faster, making the whole class schedule loop flow naturally instead of getting buried under waiting screens. And yes, the PSP port throws in extras, like more monsters, more recipes, more gear to craft, and a constant excuse to push that alchemy system to the limit. Ragnarok Tactics takes the familiar strategy RPG grid and throws you into a messy 3-way war where your choices actually matter. You don't just pick a side once and roll with it. The game gives you a full flowchart system, letting you jump back to key moments and see how things play out if you swear loyalty to a different faction or betray someone you probably shouldn't. It's a clever way of packing multiple storylines and 5 different endings into a single campaign without making you restart from scratch. Character building feels ripped straight out of Ragnarok Online, and that's a good thing. You're not locked in. Jobs can be swapped anytime, and experimenting with builds becomes addictive once you start slotting in cards for bonus effects. Overdrive skills and burst strikes spice up the turn-based rhythm with flashy finishers, while mercenaries you pick up in taverns can join at your level if you've got the cash, saving you from babysitting weak recruits. And if you ever hit a difficulty wall, the Mirage Tower's 24 floors are there to grind loot and test your squad's limits. Battles themselves let you field up to 8 units, which feels generous for a portable strategy RPG. There's even local multiplayer for trading and skirmishes, a neat touch if you had friends on PSP back in the day. The pacing can drag with long animations, but the variety of mission objectives, the ability to retreat while keeping gains, and the constant lure of better loot keep you hooked. But what makes it stand out isn't just the customization or the tactics, but the replay value. 15 hours gets you through one path, but chasing alternate routes and the true ending easily balloons that into 50. Blade Dancer Lineage of Light isn't your typical PSP RPG where you swing a sword, stockpile loot, and move on. Here, every piece of gear feels temporary. Weapons break, can't be repaired, and the only way forward is through crafting. You'll constantly dismantle blades, learn recipes, and reforge better gear on the fly. The fact that you can literally craft in the middle of a dungeon gives the whole adventure this survival vibe, like you're always one swing away from scrambling to rebuild your arsenal. Combat throws another curveball with the Luna Gauge, a single pool of energy shared by both your party and the enemy. Smack foes with basic attacks to build points, then spend them on powerful Luna abilities. But here's the catch. If you try to cast and get hit mid-animation, the points drop back into the shared gauge, and whoever acts next can grab them. It turns fights into a mind game of timing, prediction, and risk management. Do you burn the meter now, or bait the enemy into wasting it first? Exploration doesn't rely on random battles either. Enemies are skulls floating around the field, color-coded for danger. Blue for weaklings, red for don't even try, and if you ignore too many, they'll merge into a nasty black skull that can end your run in seconds. The game also runs on a day-night cycle, with lunar phases that can even change how crafting plays out, like the Black Moon creating rare item versions. It's not all systems and meters, though. There's ad hoc co-op, where up to 4 players can dive into special dungeons and bring loot back into single player. And while the story won't blow minds, the constant tension of managing gear, gauging risk, and pulling off perfectly timed interrupts gives Blade Dancer an edge that few PSP RPGs even attempted. Crimson Gem Saga is the kind of RPG that doesn't try to reinvent the wheel, it just makes sure the wheel rolls smooth as hell. The first thing that stands out is the presentation with clean 2D visuals, hand-drawn character sprites, and environments that still look sharp on the PSP screen. The real hook, though, is the combat system. Enemies aren't random encounters, they're visible on the map, which instantly makes dungeon crawling feel less like roulette. There's also the ambush mechanic. Sneak up on an enemy and you start with a heavy advantage. Get sloppy and you're the one eating extra damage. Add in front and back rows that actually matter for damage output and defense, and every battle feels more tactical than it first appears. Progression is handled with a surprisingly flexible skill tree system. Instead of a straight grind for new abilities, you spend SP to reveal and learn skills, sometimes skipping ahead to unlock stronger moves earlier if you plan smart. Combine that with the option for combination skills between party members, which are special team attacks that trigger when conditions line up, and you've got a combat loop that stays fresh deep into the game. The story doesn't pretend to be groundbreaking, but the writing leans on humor and character banter to keep things moving. It feels lighthearted without becoming throwaway. Quests do lean into the classic "go fetch this, now fetch 3 more of those," but the personality of the cast helps cover that repetition. With around 20 to 40 hours of content, Crimson Gem Saga sits in that sweet spot of being long enough to feel like an adventure, but not so bloated that you burn out.
Jerk! This is for you, and to get!
Hey guys, do me a solid and smash the hype button. Then drop a comment with your favorite pick for the next part of this series. I check and reply to all of them. They both feed the almighty algorithm and push this channel forward, and honestly, it's hands down the best way you can help the channel grow. And of course, if you're enjoying the video, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button so you won't miss the next one. Claudin. This is an RPG isn't here to waste your time with hour-long cutscenes or bloated tutorials. It throws you straight into bite-sized dungeon runs that feel tailor-made for the PSP. Every floor is randomly generated, packed with traps, gates, and enemies, so no 2 attempts play out the same. The hook? You're always racing the clock, shaving seconds off your best times, chasing loot, and tweaking builds between runs like a true dungeon addict. The real meat comes from the magic circle system. Imagine your main character in the center, surrounded by allies positioned on rings. Those allies aren't just decoration, they soak up damage depending on attack direction and unlock bonuses through artifacts. It's like building your own defensive formation and stat engine at the same time. Layer that with multiple classes, each with their own unique circles, and you've got endless ways to experiment. Customization doesn't stop there. You can literally draw your own sprite with the in-game pixel editor, turning your hero into whoever or whatever you want. And if that wasn't enough, the game even lets you redesign the final boss's look, because why not? It leans into that old-school make-it-yours mentality that scratches the creative itch while you grind through dungeons. Clayton also goes big on replay value with Rangians and Nugians. These random labyrinths scale enemies to your level and keep throwing new floors at you. Perfect for quick sessions or for getting lost in an endless loop of loot and upgrades. And if you had friends with PSPs, the ad hoc multiplayer added chaotic co-op and versus matches that made the grind a shared obsession. Phantasy Star Portable 2 doesn't just improve on the first game, it basically rebuilds the whole experience into something way more addictive. Combat is still real-time, but this time it feels sharper and way less button-mashy. You've got a chain system that rewards timing with bonus damage and even refills your skill meter if you're on point. Add in dodge rolls, shields, and the just guard counter system, and suddenly fights are about spacing, reaction, and actually reading enemy patterns instead of mashing attack until your thumb gives out. The class system is where the game really shows its teeth. You're not stuck in rigid archetypes anymore. You can swap types, extend proficiencies, and build some ridiculous hybrids. Hunters tanking with traps, rangers who double as pseudo-mages, or the new Vanguard class, which plays like a jack-of-all-trades with evasive tricks. On top of that, each race has its own flashy super. Casts summon SUV weapons, beasts go feral with nanoblasts, and humans or Newmans get mirage blasts. It makes team composition in co-op way more interesting than it has any right to be. And speaking of co-op, this was the Monster Hunter alternative that didn't lock you into long grinds. Missions are faster, flashier, and way more portable. Back in the day, you even had free infrastructure online, which was wild considering most people were paying MMO subs elsewhere. Today it's single-player or ad hoc, but the sheer amount of content still holds up, with a campaign, battle missions, secret bosses, and multiple difficulties that can stretch past 80 hours if you let it. Sure, maps can feel like samey corridors and the AI partners sometimes act like they're on strike. But when you're dodging a boss's massive area attack and timing a perfect counter just to trigger that juicy chain damage multiplier, none of that matters. Zack Fair wasn't supposed to be the star of Final Fantasy VII's universe, but in Crisis Core on PSP, he absolutely steals the spotlight. Instead of just being the guy before Cloud, Zack gets his full arc, from Wutai skirmishes to Nibelheim's tragedy. And it's incredible how the game makes you care about him almost instantly. He's upbeat, funny, and somehow makes Sephiroth look human before, well, you know what happens. For a handheld game in 2007, the presentation was borderline ridiculous. Full CG cutscenes that looked like they'd been ripped straight from a PlayStation 2 disc, detailed character models, and flashy combat animations made it one of the best-looking games on the system. And the combat? It's fast, it's flashy, and it's addictive. Real-time swings mixed with magic, materia, dodging, and blocking. It doesn't take long before you're juggling fireballs, limit breaks, and giant summons in quick bursts that feel perfect for portable play. Then there's the Materia Fusion system, an RPG tinkerer's dream. Fuse spells together, boost stats, and break the game wide open if you're willing to grind. That's how players end up slapping bosses around with costly punch, or stacking absurd HP totals. On top of the main story, you've got 300 optional missions. Yeah, they repeat arenas and objectives, but for portable sessions, they're tailor-made. Hidden in there are rare materia, powerful gear, and the ultimate flex, which is facing Minerva, the super boss who can make even veterans sweat. The one thing everyone remembers, for better or worse, is the DMW system, a slot machine that randomly decides when you level up, land a limit break, or even summon a godlike monster. Some loved the unpredictability, but others felt like their fate was tied to a casino reel. But the charm of Crisis Core is how it mixes all of that chaos into a package that still feels like pure Final Fantasy, just tuned for quick bursts of play on a portable screen.
Enough!
Persona 3 Portable took one of the most unique RPG setups ever and somehow made it fit perfectly on a handheld. You live the double life of a high school student by day and a shadow-slaying Persona user by night, balancing exams, friendships, and club meetings with climbing Tartarus, an endless tower of shifting floors. The hook is that every decision eats up time, like study for better academics, hang out with friends to unlock stronger social links, or dive deeper into the dungeon risking fatigue. It's a cycle that quickly turns addictive because every little choice feeds into your combat power. The PSP version doesn't just shrink the game down, it rewires it. For starters, you finally get direct control of your entire party, something the PS2 original didn't allow, and trust me, nobody misses relying on AI Mitsuru spamming Marin Karin. You also get the option to play as a female protagonist, which isn't just a palette swap. Her route rewrites character dynamics, unlocks new social links, and offers fresh story beats that make a replay almost mandatory. Quality of life updates pile up too. Difficulty options ranging from a gentle stroll to pure punishment, data install to keep load times short, streamlined menus for managing the team, and even skill cards that let you pass down abilities without praying to the RNG gods during fusion. There's also the wickedly fun ability to fuse personas into unique weapons, because why not turn your demon collection into a murder toolkit? However, not everything survived the move. Gone are the fully explorable 3D environments outside Tartarus, as navigation is now point-and-click menus. Animated cutscenes were swapped for in-game visuals and text, but in exchange, the game flows faster, especially on a portable. You can jump straight into class scenes, teleport around town, and hit Tartarus runs without wasting a second. And while Tartarus can feel like a grind with its endless randomly generated floors, the thrill of exploiting weaknesses, chaining knockdowns, and pulling off an all-out attack keeps battles snappy. Add nearly 170 personas to collect, multiple difficulty modes, and 2 protagonist routes, and you've got a time sink easily stretching past 80 hours if you chase everything.
Shh! They might hear you.
Dungeon Siege Throne of Agony hit the PSP in 2006, trying to do something a little different from its PC brothers. Instead of that classic point-and-click style, you get full analog control, swinging swords, casting spells, and looting in real time. You start by picking between 3 distinct heroes: Alistair the Battle Mage, Mulgrim the Warlord, or Saren the Shadow Stalker. Each one plays differently, and the game doubles down by letting you bring along a follower, from a falcon to a golem or even a tiny dragon. They're meant to cover your weak spots, though sometimes they act like they skipped combat training entirely. And instead of one giant seamless world like on PC, you jump around a rendered overworld map to hit dungeons, towns, and side quests. Enemies respawn, loot flows constantly, and you even get a fast, friendly inventory system so you don't waste time digging through menus. Leveling feels rewarding, unlocking skill sets at milestones like 30 and 60, while every ding feeds you new abilities to play with. Add in respawning mobs and hidden treasure chests, and the game nails that quick one more run loop that actually works great on a handheld. It isn't shy about leaning into the action either. Combat is fast, crunchy, and accessible, the kind of hack and slash that feels right at home on PSP. Sessions are built for bursts, like 15 minutes on a train ride, or a full evening dungeon crawl if you've got the time. And if you want to drag a friend into the grind, there's ad hoc co-op, letting 2 players and their followers smash through mobs together. Just remember to pack patience for load screens, because this UMD loves to make you wait when moving between areas or even opening the map. Monster Hunter Freedom Unite isn't just a PSP RPG, it's a full-time job disguised as one. We're talking over 400 quests, 1,500 weapons, 2,000 armor sets, and hunts that can stretch past 40 minutes if the monster doesn't wipe you first. It's the kind of game that doesn't hand out participation trophies. You learn patterns, you study weaknesses, and when you finally land that perfect combo and carve a new blade out of a beast's hide, the dopamine hits harder than any level-up screen ever could. The loop is deceptively simple: prep, hunt, craft, and repeat. Except the prep here is half the game. You're cooking meat, mixing potions, setting traps, even bringing hot drinks just to not freeze to death. Then you step into the fight and realize your weapon choice isn't just big sword or small sword. It's 11 distinct styles, from hammers that break skulls to bows that turn you into a walking sniper. Every hunt forces you to think about what you're carrying, how you're moving, and when to risk that greedy swing that could either end the fight or end you. And Unite wasn't just Freedom 2 with a fresh coat of paint. It added G-rank hunts, tougher than most players ever asked for, a feline partner to keep you alive when you're solo, and monsters like the Nargacuga that became instant series icons. Co-op ad hoc with 3 other hunters is where the game truly shines, but even alone, that sense of conquest is unmatched. Yes, the PSP controls demanded the infamous claw grip to wrangle both camera and movement. But once you adapt, the scale of what Capcom crammed onto this little handheld is jaw-dropping. Gungnir is one of those tactical RPGs that doesn't just hand you the rules, it throws you into the deep end and dares you to swim. Battles run on a unique wait time system where enemies march in a strict order, but your team has freedom. Anyone ready can act, and breaking that rhythm means sacrificing vitality. The real spice comes from the tactics gauge. Every move across the battlefield, every captured base, fills this meter. Spend those points and suddenly the fight turns into a chain reaction. With boost to power up the squad, beat to launch devastating combos if allies are in sight, or scramble to rip apart the turn order itself. And then there's the ace mechanic. Before every mission you pick your champion who brings a special buff. Sounds great until the enemy zeroes in and drops them, ending the mission instantly. And suddenly protect the VIP isn't a side objective, it's every objective. Add in strict stage time limits and you're constantly under pressure to win fast and clean. Progression leans heavily on gear instead of grind. Characters are defined by what they can carry, not just their level, so equipment, weight, and crafting matter more than raw stats. Mastering loadouts becomes part of the strategy, and experimenting with builds gives battles a refreshing twist. The story pushes into class conflict and rebellion, with branching choices that steer you toward law or chaos endings. Multiple routes and New Game Plus keep the replay value strong, rewarding players who want to see how different decisions reshape the war. Mutant mayhem in your pocket, that's pretty much the pitch here. X-Men Legends 2 Rise of Apocalypse on PSP isn't some watered-down spin-off. It's the real deal, crammed with the kind of content you'd expect on console, just squeezed into your hands. You build a squad of 4 mutants, and here's the twist. It's not just the X-Men. You can actually team them up with the Brotherhood. Magneto and Wolverine on the same team? It's chaos, and it rules. Each character levels up with stats, skill trees, and gear drops, so half the fun is tinkering with builds, and the other half is wrecking everything in sight. Destructible environments make the combat feel extra crunchy, like you're leaving real mutant footprints wherever you go. Missions span Genosha, Savage Land, and even Egypt, with side detours in the Danger Room to test your setups. And if you've got friends, co-op lets 4 players dive in together. Back in the day, it even had online infrastructure, but let's be real, couching up with buddies is still the way to play. Now here's why the PSP version is kind of a hidden gem. It's actually the most stacked release. 4 exclusive characters: Cable, Cannonball, Dark Phoenix, and X-Man, plus 9 bonus comic missions you won't find elsewhere. Sure, the camera's fixed and the load times sometimes feel like Cerebro's having a bad day, but when the action kicks in, none of that really matters. The replay value is nuts, with different team combos unlocking special bonuses. One run you're rolling with an all-villain squad, next run you've got a perfect comic book dream team. And every time you think you're done, the game just tempts you back in with another difficulty tier, or that what-if lineup waiting to smash Apocalypse's army.
Who's next?
If you're still with me, the link to the playlist is popping up in the card right now. And before you go, don't forget to smash the hype button, leave a comment, and hit sub so you don't miss what's next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the comments section.